Bobby one more time. I didn't get the first name.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Virginia High School League
All I got was
would
the
like
last
to take
name.
this opportunity to thank
Good evening and welcome to Old Dominion University's Bud Metheny Baseball Complex. I'm Tim Cole along with Bob Hintz. WHCS Channel 5 presents the state semifinal championship game between the Kecoughtan Warriors at 19-5 and the First Colonial Patriots at 18-2-1. These two teams met in the Eastern Regional Championship a week ago, and of course the outcome was not in favor of the Kecoughtan Warriors. They were beaten 6-2 by Norby Wilson's Patriots. But Bob, they've got a kind of a different scenario working for them tonight.
They really do. They're going to face Brett Wheeler the whole game, and Brett just dominated a good Mills Godwin team up there in the Central Division. But by winning that game, they became the home team, which means they have the last out, which is always a nice feeling to have when you're playing baseball. Buddy Denton told me that he is, with the rain delay from the day before, that it gave him one more day rest for Wheeler, and he says you can't play semifinals with your best pitcher out in right field or center field or wherever he plays when he's not pitching. So we will see Brett. Brett is, if he's on, he'll be a very dominating. Norby Wilson's team's got a good one in Cochran. He's 6-0, so this would be a great team. Let's look at the lineups, Tim.
All right, Brett Wheeler. First of all, we're going to show you the Patriots. They're Corcoran, Ogle, Menard, Lyon, Benko, and Cooler. I'm not sure where Cooler came from. I don't have a
Cooler on mine either.
But at any rate, you're looking at Brett Wheeler for Kecoughtan. We'll give you the rest of that lineup for the Patriots in just a moment. We're going to go ahead and just run down them for you in their order of batting. Let me do it this way. Ray Lefebvre will be the center fielder, and he will bat first for First Colonial. Second up will be Ryan McCoy. That is the shortstop. Sean Beasley, the second baseman, is batting third. Nathan Thomas, the first baseman, will bat cleanup. Mike Cespedes, the left fielder, will bat fifth. Todd Benko is the DH, batting for Menard. Dave Ogle, the third baseman, will bat seventh. Danny Corcoran, the pitcher, will bat eighth. And Rob Chambers, the catcher, will bat ninth for Norby Wilson's First Colonial Patriots. And they, as Bob said, will be the visitors this evening by the fact that the brackets were predetermined as to who would be the home team in this case. Even though the Eastern Regional champions are the First Colonial Patriots, the Kecoughtan Warriors, because of the bracketing, will be the home team, and of course, as you said, Bob, much to their advantage. Now for the Kecoughtan Warriors, there we see Robert Arredondo, Steve Smizer. Arredondo will be playing third base. Well, let me do Muski, number 32, Phillips, Roscoff for the Warriors, and I'll give you them in the order of their batting. Morocco Brown, David Skorupski, Macy Brooks, Brett Wheeler, and David Denton round out the starters for the Kecoughtan Warriors. And of course, they are coached by Buddy Denton, and he is assisted by Tab Pabst and Steve Irick. And again, the Warriors in order of batting. Phillips at shortstop will lead off. Muski will be the second batter. He'll play second base. David Denton will be third, playing first. Steve Smizer will bat cleanup. He'll be the right fielder. Brett Wheeler will bat fifth, the pitcher. Patrick Roscoff, the left fielder, will bat sixth. Robert Arredondo, the third baseman, will bat seventh. Macy Brooks will DH and hit for Morocco Brown, batting eighth. And the catcher, David Skorupski, will bat ninth in the order for Buddy Denton's Kecoughtan Warriors, the Peninsula District champions, an overall record of 19-5. First Colonial is the Beach District champion and the Eastern Regional champion as well at 18-2-1. But Bob, we should have a superb matchup between Wheeler coming in here at 12-3 with an opportunity to seek two records in the Kecoughtan Warriors record book. Most victories in a single season, that's 13. And with a victory tonight, he would have that tie. And then 24 is the overall record for a career at Kecoughtan, and he could tie that with a victory tonight as well.
Well, I see behind the plate we got Mitch McCullough from the Peninsula District. I'm not sure who the other three officials are. We have one down on the first baseline, one at third base, and one out there at second. But Mick McCullough knows this Kecoughtan team, so let's see what he's calling today.
The leadoff batter will be Ray LaFay.
In 1992, he was second all-district in the Beach District. He made the second team all-district.
And Mick McCullough has some handicraft to do before we get started. He's got that taken care of. We are set to go in the state semifinal AAA baseball. The first pitch from Wheeler, inside for a ball.
Now Wheeler will work the corners. He's a good location pitcher. LaFave is batting .381, so he gets on a lot, and that's what you want from your leadoff batter. You want him to get on, and that one looked like it was a pretty good pitch, but again on the inside corner.
It was called a strike, so it's 1-1 the count. Wheeler working rapidly, a swing and a foul tip for strike 2. So 1-2 the count, as Wheeler so often is successful in getting ahead of the batter and has done so here with LaFay leading off in the first inning. 7 innings in high school baseball. Of course, 7 innings of regulation play. If we're tied after 7, they'll play until someone is the victor. Foul down the first baseline, out of play. Ball and 2 strikes the count. Tim Cole and Bob Hintz, the pleasure of bringing you this game, the state semifinal championship game. And the winner of this will play Monday, we're told, in Northern Virginia.
And what date is that?
Monday, who cares? That'll be June the 15th.
There you go. And you notice David Skrupski is giving the target on the outside, not giving this young man, Ray LaFay, anything good. Wow, nice.
And a swing and a miss for strike 3 as Brett Wheeler gets the first victim of the evening. It'll bring up the second batter, the second baseman. Check that, the shortstop rather, Ryan McCoy for the Patriots.
Now this young man was not only second team all-district in baseball, but also in basketball. So he's a multifaceted young man who's shows his good hitting power, batting .340 for the Patriots in that number 2 spot.
First pitch is a high fastball and a swing and a miss for strike 1. McCoy last time out against Steve Smizer, against this same Brett Wheeler, I should say. Wheeler pitched against this team. Smizer pitched against Western Branch in the regionals. That one, a delayed call from McCullough, but it is in fact a strike. Good curveball from Wheeler. Started to say Wheeler got McCoy on 2 out of 3 of the at-bats on strikeouts the first time these two teams met in the Eastern Regional Championship game.
Now again, you see Skorpski's giving the target on the outside corner. Whoa,
whoa, yeah,
that looked real good from
might
here.
Might have been a little high, and Skorupski was ready to peg it down to third for the round the horn play, but of course the McCullough call was not there. And it's 1 ball, 2 strikes again. Wheeler working ahead on the count. Curveball is hit to the shortstop. Long throw to first for the out as Damon Phillips handles the ball cleanly and throws out the runner 6-3. And it'll bring up the third batter of the inning, Sean Beasley, the second baseman. And we saw a very fine effort last time out from Mr. Beasley.
He hit the ball real well last time against Kecoughtan. He was also the starting quarterback on their football team. So, again, a multifaceted athlete for the Patriots.
He scored 2 of the 6 runs, although, and I don't mean to correct you, but he didn't hit particularly. He got hit by a pitch. Yeah. He walked, and he did get a single, so he hurt them because he was on base a lot. And if he gets on base, we will see his speed, which is one of his great attributes. Very quick individual and a very aggressive base runner. Wheeler delivers, and Beasley misses on the swing. 1-1 the count. 2 outs here in the top half of the first.
And that ball, it must be I don't know what kind of a split finger, maybe a split finger fastball or whatever, but that thing dropped and was almost in the ground and had Sean was going for it.
Fastball a little low on the outside corner. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Brett's got to feel pretty good about his location. His location looks real good. He's not getting the low call.
Curveball for a swinging miss. 2-2 the count. Nobody on. Top half of the first inning. Brett Wheeler pitching. Skorupski is the battery mate. The batter is Sean Beasley, the 3rd batter in the lineup for First Colonial. Winner of this game advances to the state championship game. The loser is eliminated. This one is strike 3 as he punches him out.
He knew it. He was walking away before Bakula made the call. But that was a great, great pitch by Brett Wheeler. And what nice way to start off the top of the first.
Wheeler with 2 of the 3 batters' strikeout victims. And at the bottom half of the first inning, we have no score. The Warriors coming to bat. They will have Phillips, Muski, Denton, and Smizer will be the top 4. I found it interesting, and I'm certainly not second-guessing anyone, as you saw the punch-out from Mick McCullough on Sean Beasley. I was just curious because of Denton's obvious power, why he doesn't bat 4th, but I guess the idea is want to get him up in the first inning because of that power, and because of his batting average, and hopefully if one of the first 2 young men can get on, he can get an RBI. So I've started to question Smizer, who is a good hitter, but certainly not as good a hitter as David Denton. Denton with a 427 batting average. I mean, it's just awesome. Smizer is 266. There you see Danny Cochran, the left-hander on the mound for the First Colonial Patriots. And his battery mate will be a young man that impressed me a lot in the last game between these 2 teams, Rob Chambers, who showed a great deal of agility and a good arm behind the plate. So good battery combination going tonight for First Colonial. Corcoran coming in at 6-0. Has yet to taste defeat. And as you know, we've talked about this before, every coach in the land loves a good, hard-throwing left-hander.
Yes, you do. He's got good stuff on the ball. As you talked about his record, he has not lost this year. And we'll see what he's got. This Kecoughtan team was in a slump towards the end of the season and the first part of the playoffs, but they opened up the floodgates against Mills Godwin, and let's see if they can continue their hitting ways. Good hitting team, the Warriors.
The leadoff batter is Damon Phillips, and he brings a hefty 350 batting average to the plate. 28 hits in 80 official at-bats. Phillips walked twice the last time these 2 teams met.
Now that chatter you hear is coming from the Kecoughtan bench,
which you can see on your screen there behind Phillips. Left-hander delivers, and it is a ball low. It looked pretty good. It was across the plate, but apparently a little low.
I don't know that Kecoughtan has seen this young man before, but he's coming across the plate, and Damon's got a good eye. And Damon, being your leadoff batter, is the kind of young man that will make good contact with the ball, get on base a lot, and that's what you look for.
So the count runs to 3-0 as Corcoran has a little difficulty finding the strike zone here in the bottom half of the first. Phillips, as I mentioned, walked twice last time these 2 teams met and would be more than happy to take ball 4 here and get something started for the Warriors. He is taking all the way, and the pitch is high for ball 4. So Corcoran does not find the strike zone in 4 pitches. And that'll bring up Jacob Muski, the second baseman.
It gives you a little problem. You start off, this is a big game. You know the adrenaline's flowing on both teams, and if you don't get the ball across, on, not even a strike on 4 pitches, now you've got a man on first, Tim, and you got to come from the stretch.
Buski 0 for 3 last time these two teams met. And this one gets away from Chambers, high and outside. It would be probably a passed ball, as I grant you it was off the plate, but it didn't look like a ball that should have gotten away from Chambers.
No, and that's one thing that impressed us with young Chambers last time we watched these two teams play, was his ability to block and knock the ball down and just really do a good job of not allowing a pass ball. But like you say, that ball kind of sailed, Tim. It was going away and breaking away from the catcher. So
Phillips easily moves down to second base. So here in the bottom half of the first, the Warriors have a threat going. This one's down the pipe for a strike. 1-1 the count.
Now you'd like a nice sacrifice, bring your second base runner down to third, get him in scoring position with 1 out. That's always a nice feeling if you're Kecoughtan. Jump out, get that lead, put the pressure on the other team right off the bat if you can.
Buski takes it on the inside corner, and he looked around and Mick McCooley said, "What?"
I knew that was well, that kind of takes away the bunt situation with 2 strikes.
Big breaking bunt. Well, he didn't show bunt. I mean, he, didn't at all indicate that he was going to bunt, but that's a good point. Of course, Coach Denton down at third base may have had some other ideas. We are not as familiar with this team as we would like to be. So we don't know whether Buski has a good technique at bunting or whether he's bunted at all this year or not. Phillips trying to draw the attention of Corcoran, and does. Gets Corcoran's attention, gets him off the mound, and now he'll set up again.
Well, now this is one thing. If you remember the last game, these two teams met. Kecoughtan left a whole lot of batters, a lot of runners on base. The first 2 innings, I think they left like 5 runners they stranded, and that you get people in the scoring position and don't take advantage of it, it'll hurt you later on in the game.
2-2 to Muskie. Big breaking curveball is high for ball 3, so the count is full now with nobody out here in the bottom half of the first inning. No score between First Colonial and Kecoughtan. Buski looks down to Buddy Denton, gets the signal from the coach. Pitching from the stretch. And Corcoran throws back to second. Phillips is able to return to the base easily.
And that's a pickoff play that is called by the catcher.
Corcoran delivers. This one's fouled back. Out of play. We want to remind our camera people, stay alert. There are no screens except immediately behind home plate. So our 3 camera positions, that one you're seeing is from the first baseline. And there's no screen there, so I probably shouldn't have told Bev that. Full count, the ball is delivered, hit, and misplayed by the third baseman. And Phillips is able to scamper down to third base after having to hold up initially.
He really did, and that was not a bad hop in the situation that we saw with David Denton. That ball was a playable ball, but I think what the third baseman was thinking was, I'm going to hold the runner, and was took his eye off the ball at the last second. And of course, that has to go down as an error.
It is, in fact, an error. And it allows Buski to reach first and for Phillips to advance to third now. So the Warriors truly have a threat going with nobody out, and David Denton batting .427 with 8 dingers up at the plate. Nobody out. Of course, you're going to try and advance that runner on first if you can. He's going to try and steal second sometime during this particular sequence. And by the same token, you don't have to worry about anyone being eliminating Denton's at-bat with no one away. This first pitch outside, curveball, and Denton takes ball 1.
And this is a situation you want to have young David Denton in. He'll rise to the challenge with men on base.
Denton did not have a great game the last time these two teams met. He was 0 for 3 with a walk and 3 put out pop-ups or ground-outs. So Denton was held very silent in the battle between these two teams, and I'm sure he'd like nothing more than to atone for that this evening.
Well, that young man on first base, Nathan Thomas, did a good job of stopping that attempted pickoff because that ball was in the dirt.
As was that pitch. Corcoran having real problems here in the first inning. His third baseman let him down a bit with a tough chance. I won't question the fact that was a tough chance, but it was truly a playable ball.
Oh, he should have had the out on first and runner stand at second. It was
big swing and a miss by Denton on the slow curve.
Boy, he had that looked like a lollipop out there for him. I'm sure his eyes got bigger and bigger, but that was a nice breaking ball thrown by Cochran.
2 balls, 1 strike. Count on Denton. Still in the driver's seat as far as count is concerned. Runners at the corner, nobody out. This one is strike 2 called. I think Denton knew it too. He didn't like the call, but it was a good pitch.
And you got the inside corner very well. And it was just low enough that David thought maybe that was going to be a ball. But as your hitter, you're only looking for one. You're looking for your pitch.
And a curveball gets Denton swinging for the first out of the inning.
Well, now that takes a lot of pressure off the pitcher because, number one, you got their big gun who can hit the ball out of here, out on strikes, but so it's got to give you a little bit of confidence. It's got to be a confidence builder.
Steve Smizer, the right fielder, is our batter. Steve comes in the game batting .266, 21 hits in 79 at-bats. Steve's got 2 triples to his credit. Now conference between Chambers and Corcoran. 1 away here in the bottom half of the first inning. No score between Kecoughtan and First Colonial. A rematch of the Eastern Regional Championship game, a game won by First Colonial 6-2 at this very same site. And I thought it was an interesting comment in the Daily Press. By the way, we want to thank Mike Keach for all of his assistance in preparing for our cablecast. It was an interesting situation that Coach Denton had the chance to play this game at Kecoughtan, but chose to play it here.
Well, maybe not at Kecoughtan, but on the peninsula.
Well, wherever he would choose a reasonable spot. But because of the beautiful complex here, and certainly we have not hesitated to rave about it, his kids wanted the opportunity to play at this complex. This is as good as there is in this area.
And it really is. It's a well-manicured facility. It drains well. The big rain that we had the day before, it has no effect. It's just people over here at the ODU have just done an awesome job in this complex.
Swing and a miss by Smizer. 2 balls and a strike to count now. But anyway, it was an interesting comment, an interesting situation that they could have had the, quote, home field advantage of the peninsula and somewhat gave that up. Of course, you maintain that last at-bat, which is the most crucial part of the home field advantage. Throw over to first base, and Muski gets back with little or no problem. Phillips over at third. He got on base on balls. Muski reached first on a error on the third baseman, and Denton, of course, struck out. The count now to Smizer is 2 balls and a strike. Gets away from the catcher. This will score a run. And Muski goes all the way down, makes the big turn at second base, and has to go back. But this will be a wild pitch charge to Corcoran.
Yes, has to be.
And Damon Phillips will score after having walked. How many times do you see the leadoff man walk and come back to haunt the other team?
Well, that happened to Kecoughtan, not only walker, but a hit batter or a hit batsman. As you see, the ball, it was in his glove and popped out. Tim, I think the catcher could have got it, but the ball seems to be sailing, going up.
A light breeze, but not really a factor in this game. Just a very, almost a calm situation here. And the temperature at game time, I started to mention, I didn't get a chance to it. It's just as a beautiful an evening as you can have for baseball. The temperature at game time right around 73, 74 degrees, low humidity, and just a perfect night for baseball.
And here we come up with a young man that can help his cause, Brett Wheeler, batting number 5, Tim.
And Brett Wheeler is a .293 batter, 22 hits in 75 official at-bats, 1 double, and he walked 11 times. You're right, you got runners at first and second, 1 run across. Still only 1 out here in the first. The Warriors enjoying this early lead. You can hear, so are the Warrior teammates.
And that's a nice curveball to Cochran. If he's got it working, it looks real good, but it seems to be getting away from him, or I don't know if it's the curve ball that gets away, but he's had 2 of them to go high and outside.
This one is hit to center field, left center field. The center fielder has the call and makes the catch. Neither runner is able to advance. Good play in center field by Ray LaFay. Looking into a tough sun. The reason, it was a routine fly. The reason I say it was a good play is because they're looking into a real tough early evening, late day, whatever you want to call it, bright sunlight.
And as that sun sets further and further, it's going to be tougher and tougher until it gets out of the way. But we got Patrick Roscroft, the left fielder, coming to bat.
Roscroft comes into this game batting .298 and takes a strike 1.
Boy, that curveball looks good. I mean, that ball looked like it was 2 foot outside when he released it, Tim, and broke right across that plate.
That's the advantage of that big sweeping curve from the left-hander. It's real tough that, the majority of your pitchers are going to be right-handers, and so when you get in there and that ball is coming from a different angle with a different trajectory, it can really throw you off as a batter. 2 away now here in the bottom half of the first inning. The Warriors, without the benefit of a hit, have scored a run on a pass ball and a wild pitch and a walk to Damon Phillips. Swing and a miss for strike 2 on the batter, Patrick Roscroft.
And see, now with the batter being pitcher being ahead with a 2-0 count, he can pitch the way he wants to. He doesn't have to give the batter anything good, but the batter's got to be protecting the plate.
Fouled back, out of play. If Corcoran can get this batter out, he will have really dodged a major bullet. What with the Warriors having
they had 2 pass balls and an error and a walk.
Yeah, and so far only have allowed 1 run. Throw over to first, and the runner Smizer is back easily.
Whenever they strike, strike and miss, or go look on a pitch, we're gonna go. No, if it's 1 strike, you go like this. 2 strikes, go.
Curveball outside for a ball.
Well, that last one that Roscroft hit, fouled out, was outside the strike zone, but again, that curve looks like it's going to stay outside and break in, and got him on the first strike. So
good stop by Chambers on the ball in the dirt. 2-2 the count.
and what you do with, if you're you got a good curveball working like Cochran, is you throw that thing and then you come in with some heat, and your timing is a little bit off, and that's what he's trying to do, is try to blow that one by Patrick on the inside corner.
Just outside, runners on a double steal, and safe at third. The ball gets away from the third baseman. So Muski moves down to third and Smizer up to second. So now with a count full and 2 away, it brings up a lot of pressure on the young pitcher, Corcoran, to come across with a strike here.
And young Mr. Patrick Roscroft has got a feeling a little bit of adrenaline flowing right about now.
Got your runners in scoring position. 2 away in the first.
Single will bring them both in.
Corcoran shakes off a couple of calls from the catcher, throws a curveball high and outside, and the bases are loaded for Robert Arredondo.
Young man, just a sophomore, starting for the Warriors all year long. The coaches are very high on this young man.
Arredondo in the ball game, 284, 21 hits and 74 official at-bats, 5 doubles and 2 homers for Arredondo, so he has some power. Swing and a miss. So the bases packed for the Warriors.
No place to put this one. If you're First Colonial, you got to get him.
Inside, another good stop by Chambers.
Cochran has kept Chambers very active behind that plate tonight.
Even in the count at 1-1.
He's thrown a lot of pitches. I have been keeping track of the number of pitches that Cochran has thrown, but that may be a tale later on in the game. But First Colonial's got a couple players that come in and close it out.
Been a long inning so far for First Colonial. This batter, Arredondo, 7th batter in the inning. A couple of base on balls, so you know there's 8 pitches minimum right there and a couple of foul offs. So I would have to guess that Corcoran's probably thrown 35 pitches. Swing and a miss for strike 2. Counts it even at 2-2 with 2 away here in the bottom half of the first. Warriors with 1 run across. They lead 1-0. Trying to add some more to that. 2-2 the count. Fouled away, out of play. That was just a good job of Arredondo guarding the plate.
Yeah, it was outside. I don't think it would have been a hit, but it was, again, you got to protect the plate.
That big curveball, you don't. It looks like it's outside, and if you let it go and that rascal hooks across the plate, then you're sitting there with bases loaded and you're walking back to the dugout. That's the advantage of that sweeping curve. Time called just before the delivery of the pitch. The second base umpire. Now we got a balk, I believe.
Yeah, it was a balk.
Okay, so a balk is called against Cochran, and Muski will come in to score the second run for the Warriors, and all the runners will move up.
And I know Norby Wilson, the coach of First Colonial, is one. Man, are we snake bit or what?
Well, let me put it like this. So far, they're lucky to have just 2 runs across the plate. Bases still loaded. 2-2. Fouled away again. Good job by Arredondo to stay alive. You consider that basically in the bottom half of this inning, we've seen just about everything that can happen. Short of a double play or a triple play, you've got your balk, you've got a wild pitch, a passed ball, everything but a hit.
But a hit. And we may see that yet.
This one is hit back to the shortstop, fielded cleanly, over to first, out. At first is Arredondo. So the Warriors do, in fact, score twice here without benefit of a hit. Here in the bottom half of the first inning, a balk, a passed ball, a wild pitch, a couple of walks, and an error.
2 pass balls.
Yep. Well, depending on whether you call that one a wild pitch or a pass ball, I give it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I think that one might have been well, you got 2 of them. We'll count one.
One was
pass
definitely
ball.
a pass ball.
Yeah.
And one, or at least one was definitely a wild pitch.
Oh.
So the Warriors lead 2-0 after 1 complete. And as we go to the second inning, the batters for First Colonial will be, we'll see the replay. There you saw the balk. I did not pick it up at the time.
Well, he's got to come and pause. You can't, you have to, after your stretch, you must come and set for a second. Evidently, he didn't do that. If we have that again on tape, maybe we can see it and pick it up. But it was, it wasn't because he made a move to a pickoff. It was had to be because he didn't come down from his stretch position, didn't pause.
At any rate, if we have that, we'll show it to you again. But Nathan Thomas will lead off for First Colonial. Cespedes will be the second batter, and the DH Todd Benko will be the third scheduled batter. Here's that balk again. If we can pick it up, well, that's a little too far into it. If we can back it up just a tad to before he delivers. You can see the umpire raised his hands there to indicate a stoppage of play. Quick little meeting at the mound as Wheeler, of course, now the risk you run with a long first inning like that is your pitcher hasn't had a chance to sufficiently warm up, and then he has to sit through what was probably about a 20-minute inning.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Nathan Thomas batting from the left side of the plate steps in, and Wheeler's first pitch is inside for a ball.
Well, Nathan was batting .361, the first baseman. Good power, batting in the fourth slot in your cleanup.
Strike called. Thomas, last time against Wheeler, walked twice and struck out. This one a little low for a ball. 2 balls and 1 strike.
If you watch Skorupski, the catcher, he looks over to the bench and picks up the pitch that he signals in.
Ball is hit slowly to the shortstop. Long throw is off the mark and gets by, but very, very wisely Skorupski is backing up the play. Tags the runner just in case he might have made a motion towards second. As you know, he could have been tagged out if he'd already headed towards second. He did not. And he's on at first, and that'll almost have to be a hit.
Well, it was so slow that the third baseman, if he could have got a hold of it, could have made the throw. But Damon Phillips so deep in that shortstop position, hit ball is not hit sharply. It's just almost impossible to make a throw. If the throw would have been on time, I don't know if he'd have made him. It would have been real close.
Well, they've listed it as an error on the board. The official score has charged an error, a tough error, because that was really a tough play. This one is definitely a hit, as Cespedes singles to left, and all the way to third is Thomas. So, as you might have, I didn't want to sound like a soothsayer, but maybe that long inning had some effect on Wheeler. Of course, we're looking at a good batting team here.
Yeah, well, your 4th and 5th spot on your batting order is not a bad place. Those are your pretty good hitters. So that brings up your DH.
First Colonial now has something going with Thomas all the way to third, and the DH coming in is Todd Benko. Brett Wheeler in a bit of a jam here. No one out. Runners at the corner. Wheeler checks the runners. And the pitch is a little low. You have to wait a minute because Mick doesn't make up his mind instantly. He gives you a second on the delay. You got to be sure before you call it out.
And that was a good pitch, just low. Good location.
Wheeler's got the corner on this one, evens the count at 1-1. Top half of the second inning, 2-0 in favor of the Kecoughtan Warriors. Wheeler's curveball is a little high. 2 balls and a strike. Benko was a 2-strikeout victim of Wheeler's last time these two teams met. Might be a play at second. And no, it's dropped, so the run will score, and an error will be charged to the second baseman, Arredondo. Excuse me, Muski. So Thomas scores on the play. It looked like they might have a play at home, and then the shortstop Phillips decided to go to second, and it looked like a lack of concentration on the part of Muski. You get a chance to watch this again. You'll see the ball hit a high hopper, so it would have been a tough play at second. It's fielded cleanly. Phillips flips it over, and it's almost as if Muski was thinking about going to first for the DP and took his eye off the ball. So first Colonial now with runners at first and second, and still nobody out. And the batter is the third baseman, David Ogle.
Good shot, Dave Bruce.
You got Cespedes on second, was almost picked off that time on a nice throw by Skorupski and the catcher.
Is it Skorupski or Skorupski?
Skorupski, you're right, Skorupski.
No, I'm not necessarily right. I just want to make sure we.
Well, you're righter than I am.
Nice bunt, Wheeler, and this is going to be a hit. No place to go with that ball, just couldn't get to it. A perfect place on the bunt. So now the bases are loaded up for First Colonial, like the Warriors had at the bottom of the first. They've got something going big time here. Nobody out.
And Buddy's going to go out and talk to Brett. I'm sure he just wants him to settle down a little bit. You've got the bottom part of your order. That's Cochran coming up the pitcher. He's batting. I don't know what kind of a batting average he has, but you're down at your 8 and 9 position on your batting order. This is not a time to make any mistakes. The base is loaded.
So 2 hits in the inning and 2 errors. Get a chance to watch this again. This is the bunt. Now, there was no secret to this. He stuck the bat out there. Everybody in town knew he was going to bunt. But it was just right. It was too strong.
But you see, what Wheeler was leaning toward, when he follow through takes him towards first base, so he had to change directions to try to get to that ball. Nice bunt. You're right.
You saw that it couldn't have been more perfectly placed in that it was just hit hard enough that it got by the pitcher, and it was in no man's land. It was almost like a seeing eye single, as they would call it. This one is going to be a play at home. It's a forced play, so no tag is necessary, and the out is recorded for the first out of the inning.
Nice play by the number 32 for the Warriors. Is that Muski? The second baseman. Nice job, because that, again, the ball had a high hop. So, I mean, it was not an easy play because you got a high hop like that. It takes time for that ball to come down, and that runner from third is moving.
It's easy to lose your concentration in your efforts to get the ball into your glove and out of your glove that you might hurry the throw, but that was well played by Muski. And the Warriors prevent another run from scoring as now the batter, Rob Chambers, the catcher, the number 9 batter, steps in with the bases still loaded, but now there's one out. Curveball a little outside for a ball.
Well, this young man may be batting in a nice spot, but Buddy Denton said that's like another cleanup man because this young man is batting .333.
Very few weak spots on either of these rosters. You're not looking at anyone in here that doesn't know how to swing the bat. Unlike Major League Baseball, where the pitchers are, 0.001 batting averages, these young men, right from batter 1 to batter 9, have got good averages. Swing and a miss on the curveball by Chambers, so he's behind on the count now. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Wheeler can now play a little bit with him, although he won't get real fancy with the bases packed. But 1 out here with 1 run across. 2-1 Kecoughtan, top of the second. Wheeler, ball gets away from Skorupski, and the run will score. The runners will advance.
Well, that ties the game up real quick.
So Benko scores, and Ogle and Corcoran both move up.
Well, that ball went through the glove, and I see the catcher going over to either get a different glove or try to repair that one. I don't know if what happened.
Last time these two teams met, we had a 3.5-hour, 7-inning marathon, and tonight it looks like we might be headed towards that same type of thing. Lots of base runners and lots of stoppages in play. But that ball did get by. Now, whether it was because of the glove, I don't know. Here's the replay. Ball was not that poorly thrown. It just simply, and of course from that angle, it's hard for us to tell whether it glanced off his glove or in fact went through the pocket. But unfortunately for the Warriors, by the time Skorupski could get to the ball, the run had scored and the tie ball game exists with just 1 out, runners at second and third. Rob Chambers had a triple in the last matchup between these two teams, a triple and a single, and he walked, so he was 2 for 2. He did very well against Wheeler before. 2-2 the count. Wheeler delivers, foul down the first baseline. Two men on, one out here in the top of the second. Kecoughtan and First Colonial. Group AAA semifinal game between the Peninsula District Champion and the Beach District Champion. High hopper and another tough play and no place to go with the ball. A run scores.
And every one of these except one hit has been a hopper. They're hitting down on top of the ball. Ball's hitting in front of the plate and bouncing very, very high. Through no fault of Brett Wheeler. Brett is pitching good. I mean, you want the ball to stay down.
That'll be scored as an infield hit, I assume. We don't have the scoreboard shows hit, but the totals for the guests, the numbers are out, so we can't tell. Brings up the leadoff batter, Ray LaFay. He was a strikeout victim in the first.
Young man is batting .381.
Wheeler finds the corner. Runners at first and third for First Colonial. Still only one out. 3 runs across here in the top of the second.
If you were Buddy and they were hitting the ball solidly, you may be concerned, but the ball is not being hit solid.
Well, you got a bunt for a single. You've got another infield hit that was charged as an error, but in my opinion was a hit. And you've got that last situation where there really was no place to go with the ball. Runner at first is going down, and they got him at second.
Nice job, a nice job.
A fine job, considering there's a runner on third and he's still there. So Skorupski got the ball down there in plenty of time. And I don't know whether the runner on third might have been napping a bit or just felt it was too much of a chance to take to try and go for the double steal. You know, you could have gone with a delayed steal in that case once the ball was en route to second base. So the Warriors erase one of those base runners, and now with 2 outs can hopefully get this batter out in a check swing. They say on the appeal call that he did go around. And is that strike 3? The First Colonial bench was ready to come on the field.
Well, yeah, didn't he have 2 strikes?
I'm not sure what the count was now. Apparently it's 2-2, and this takes care of any question as Brett Wheeler gets Ray LaFay for the second time in the ball game to go down on strikes. But First Colonial scores 3 runs in their half of the inning. They had a total of 3 hits, an error, and 3 runs scored. So they take the lead after 1.5 innings. Wheeler, again, I don't know exactly why. It was just a tough inning. You know, those one of those innings where no one really hit the ball extremely well. There was that one hit to the outfield.
Yeah, one good hit.
The rest was these dribblers. And, you know, to First Colonial's benefit, they made the most of the situation. We'll get a chance to watch this attempted steal and the fine play by Skorupski as he came up throwing, threw a perfect ball to second in time to get the runner, and just as importantly, did not allow the runner on third to come home, and he could have just as easily done so. So the Warriors now in the bottom half of the second inning will send up Macy Brooks, followed by David Skorupski and the leadoff batter Damon Phillips. Macy Brooks
now
coming in.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but now you got Macy, who is a left-hander, a left-handed pitcher coming across his body, you have a tendency to bail out a little bit because it looks like the ball's coming right at you. Let's see how Macy stays in there.
Brooks batting .228, looks at the first pitch. It's high outside for a ball. Norby Wilson positioning his infielders, has them shifting around to play Brooks not as a pull hitter, and Brooks swings, and I believe he foul tipped the ball. Nonetheless, a strike.
Let's go, Macy.
1-1 the count, nobody out. Swing and a miss for strike 2.
Oh, that you took something off that curve.
Yeah, he's been doing that all game. Both innings, he has come out with that big, looks like it's going to be a bullet, and he just breaks that sweeping curveball across. A ball and 2 strikes. Brooks gets that curveball again. This one's a little high, and it evens the count at 2-2.
Good eye that time on Macy. That was one that I would have been swinging and walking back to the dugout.
Brooks hits it to center field. It's going to drop in there for a single.
Well, Kecoughtan gets their first hit of the game.
Macy Brooks reaches first on the single to center. And that'll bring up the catcher, David Skorupski. Skorupski coming into this game, batting .292, 65 official at-bats, 19 hits. He's got 2 doubles, 2 triples, 2 home runs.
And remember his last game here.
Ball hit sharply to the shortstop, over to second and to first for the double play. A fine-looking play by the First Colonial Patriots. It's just how you diagram it, the old 6-4-2 double play. And that brings up the leadoff batter, Damon Phillips, who walked and scored a run in the first inning. Outside on the first pitch.
What a difference in innings. The first inning that young Corcoran pitched before he got 2 outs was a lot of activity.
Breaking ball across for a strike. Phillips shakes his head in disagreement, but does not argue. Shot to the third baseman. Good play. Long throw for the out. So Phillips hits the ball sharply to David Ogle, and Ogle handles it cleanly for the third out of the inning.
1, 2, 3, but not without giving up a hit.
So we've played 2 complete innings, and the score is 3-2 in favor of First Colonial. They got 3 runs on 3 hits. The Warriors have 2 runs on 1 hit. Get a chance to watch this double play, and this is about as good as you can do it, whether you're playing high school or college or pro ball. Watch this. Ball is hit. It's a perfect double play ball. Hit sharply to the shortstop. Over to second with ease. Over to first, no problem.
And see, as a coach, you would rather have the other team hit the ball sharply on the ground because you can make plays like that, whereas in Kecoughtan's case, the balls that First Colonial hitting are taking that bounce in front of the plate and are not getting there. They're getting there about 3 or 4 seconds later than those sharply hit balls. Makes a big difference.
So the batters for First Colonial here in the third inning will find the third baseman, Ryan McCoy. Check that, he's playing shortstop, rather. The second baseman, Sean Beasley, and the first baseman, Nathan Thomas, due up in the top half of the third inning. McCoy batting .340, is that right?
.340, that's correct. As I talked about, this young man plays both football and basketball.
So Wheeler didn't have time to cool off in the dugout this last time as his teammates went down in order. Throws a curveball high. Top half of the third inning. Group AAA semifinal action. Fouled away, out of play.
Oh, almost got that car.
Yeah, it looked like it might have nicked that little Subaru in the lot over there.
No.
I can see the Subaru from here.
Yeah, it didn't get that far. But the car was going by in the street. Was playing dodgeball.
1-1 the count to McCoy. Swing and a miss. One ball, two strikes on the leadoff batter, Ryan McCoy. McCoy was a ground out victim in the first inning. Swing and a miss. It's in the dirt, and Skorupski tries to tag him and instead has to throw down to first. Just did nip him. Just got the runner.
A lot of speed there by young Ryan McCoy.
He did. He only beat him by half a step on that throw. He delayed the throw, obviously, by the attempted tag. Of course, in high school ball, if you drop that third strike and first base is vacant, the batter can try to get to first base before you either tag him out or throw him out. Sean Beasley, the second baseman, is the batter. He struck out in the first inning.
Batting .396. Sean Beasley, all regional team this year. All Beach District, of course. And was second team all district quarterback.
Beasley takes a strike.
And I think the young man is going to VCU. Yes, going to VCU in the fall.
You know, I talked about that last time we did the game between these two teams. Kind of surprising because I don't think that VCU has a football team.
No, they don't. He'll be up there playing baseball, I'm sure.
Or maybe not sports at all, but that would be kind of odd with his abilities. Curveball outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Check that, 3-1 rather. One away here in the top half of the third inning. Base is empty. Wheeler delivers just off the plate. And now the count is 3-1. I had it right the first time.
Yeah,
the scoreboard was
one ball ahead, yes.
So it is 3-1.
2 more pitches. You go over and sit down with your comrades.
And Wheeler is off the plate, ball 4. So Beasley, and we mentioned before that he showed us pretty good speed the last time these two teams met. He's down at first base, and now Nathan Thomas, who reached on an error in the second inning and ultimately scored the first run of the ball game for First Colonial.
Well, he was a wide receiver on the football team that young Mr. Beasley threw to.
And they catch the runner leading off, and he's safe at second. Oh, I started to say he caught him because they got him leaning and they had him in a rundown, but it looked like Denton couldn't get the ball out of his glove.
Yeah, he started to run, and just the ball was, the throw was high. Had it been low, he'd have got him for sure.
Denton had some difficulty while Beasley was headed for second. It looked like they'd get him in a rundown or certainly at an easy play at second, but Denton couldn't get the ball out of his glove. So the Patriots get a break there as Thomas takes a strike. Definitely had Beasley caught, but couldn't get him. So he's at second base with 1 out here in the third.
Go!
Thomas beats the ball to Muski. Muski will take the play over to Denton for the second out of the inning.
But that does move Beasley to third. That would have been a nice double play ball had the runner not stole second.
Now the batter now will be Mike Cespedes. He was a single hitter in the second inning.
He bats .454, which is not a bad.
You're happy to have him up there with a man in scoring position.
Left fielder.
Runner on third with 2 outs. Wheeler delivers. It's fouled away down the third baseline. So Wheeler quickly ahead on the count. 2 away in the third. 3-2 in favor of First Colonial. They got their 3 runs in the bottom half, excuse me, the top half rather, of the second inning. I'll get it right yet. After a long bottom of the first in which the Warriors scored twice. Tim Cole and Bob Hintz and the Channel 5 crew coming to you from Old Dominion University's Bud Metheny Baseball Complex. Strike called. As beautiful a baseball facility as you find in these parts.
It is that, and that's the reason that Buddy Denton decided to play it over here rather than someplace on the.
Oh, that ball looked like it was close enough to call, but Mick McCullough did not make the call. And the count evens up at 2-2 with 2 away. Runner on third. And he is out of there on a call third strike. We'll return to Bud Metheny Complex after a brief timeout. Tim Cole and Bob Hintz back at Bud Metheny Baseball Complex at ODU. Here is the last pitch of the top of the third. Not a great angle for you to get an idea of that, but Mick McCullough with the old, you're out of there.
I tell you, I love to have him wired. We have him wired when we do some football games. And
Mick is wired when we don't have him wired.
And he's very eminent, but good official.
So for the Warriors in the bottom half of the third inning, they will send to the plate Jacob Muski, David Denton, and Steve Smizer. The 2, 3, and 4 batters.
Muski's transferred in from Germany, just a junior. Missed part of the season second half of the season with an injured ankle. But good to have him back in the lineup.
Takes a pitch inside for a ball. Bench hamming it up, trying to get something going. Call strike. 1-1 the count. Muski reached on an error in the first inning and scored the second Kecoughtan run. Waits on the curveball, pounds it down the third baseline, gets by the third baseman. It could be extra bases. Hesitate. Oh, that was some real questionable base running down.
Well,
first base coach.
The coach is the one that should have had him to go into second. He should have been on second.
Had him turning away from the play, and the ball was clearly past the third baseman, and then didn't send him, didn't communicate with him. So the Warriors, this could come back to haunt them. There should be a man on second. Instead, Muski is at first again, reaching for the second time on an error on the third baseman.
Brings up young David Denton.
David swings at the slow curveball for a strike.
He had trouble with the curve last time it was over. The young man's got a 3.9 GPA and is 4th ranking in his junior class.
David's just a junior.
Just a junior. You got that.
And the district foes are not happy to hear that. 1-1 the count.
He was first team all-district last year and this year.
Runner on first, no one out. Move over to first, and Muski back easily. I wasn't trying to be overly critical of that play, but it was obvious that a little more concentration on someone's part that Muski could have easily made it to second base.
And I'm sure Coach Denton is very upset with that because that gets you your runner in scoring position
with nobody out.
And that's a big big plus. 2-1 on young Mr. David Denton.
Denton struck out in the first inning.
Don't
Two
give
balls
him,
and one strike.
don't give him a fastball.
No, he doesn't get very many of those. He pounds this slow curve down the third baseline, out of play. Way ahead on that one. Count runs now to 2-2. David with 32 hits and 75 official at-bats. He had 3 doubles and 8 home runs, and he led the team in walks with 21.
And I wonder, a few of those probably were intentional.
Fouled back out of play.
David's getting his timing down on that curveball. He's going to get a big piece of that in a second if we don't see a fastball coming down the pike. See what young Cochran throws.
This one is strike 3, and Denton doesn't question it. He just turns around and carries the metal back. Thought it was a little low from here, but certainly we don't have nearly as good an angle as the umpire. And he punched him out for the first out of the inning. Brings up Steve Smizer. Smizer reached on a walk in the first.
Steve, this young man, GPA 4.0, senior, very solid. He, of course, one of the captains is David Denton, National Honor Society.
We like to talk about what they do in the
I tell
classroom.
you, that's the truth.
First pitch to Smizer was in the dirt for a ball.
Let's go!
One ball, no strikes, one away in the bottom half of the third inning. Smizer takes ball 2. Looked pretty good from here. Never know with Mick, you know, I'm waiting for him to make the call, and then he doesn't. You almost like waiting for the other shoe to drop sometimes.
Yeah, well, the ball may have been a little high. It may have been inside, got the inside corner, but I think it was a little high from this, again, from this vantage point, it's hard to tell.
Throw over to first. Back in time is Muski. Smizer hits it. Nice play by the shortstop to come up with the ball, saving what might have been a runner advancing, although I doubt it since
No,
it was
that
hit to
second
the left
base,
side. But
that
boy,
the left fielder for the Patriots, he was coming in. That's Mike Cespedes. He'd have thrown him out if he'd have tried to cover at the third, but that was an excellent stop by the third baseman.
just a great play by the shortstop.
I'm sorry, the shortstop. You're right. That's Brian McCoy.
Ryan McCoy coming up with a nice stop, but a hit nonetheless. Looked like the third baseman had a pretty fair shot at it at first,
Yeah.
but the ball just got past him. And it certainly will be an infield hit for the Warriors, their second of the ball game.
This young man has been the first team All-District 91-92. We're talking about Brett Wheeler, who has carried the load for pitching for the Warriors.
Brett takes that first pitch inside for a ball.
A lot of colleges are looking at him, and he's just a junior.
Wheeler popped out to the left fielder his first time at bat. That's .293 coming into this game.
And Norby Wilson is going to go out and talk to Cochran, try to sell him down. That ball was a little low, but it looks like he's bringing in somebody real quick. He's not pointed to center, right, left field. That's who's that? That's your young man. That's Cespedes, who is not a bad pitcher in his own right.
Get a chance to watch that hit again. And the fine play. Again, the ball grounded. It looks like it's going to get by everyone. And just a diving attempt by the shortstop to come up with the ball. He would have had no play at second, in spite of the fact he dropped the ball. But boy, what a stop. So we have the left-hander coming in from left field, you say. That is number 17.
That's the young man.
Mike Cespedes.
Cespedes, yes.
Number 17 on your scorecard, number 1 on your heart. And again, another left-hander. Norby Wilson must feel like left-handers are a tough chore for the Warriors, and certainly they've done a good job of handcuffing David Denton. Denton went 0 for 3 in the first game and has struck out twice here in this game, so he is 0 for 5 against the First Colonial pitchers.
How's it look? Does it look good?
In the process of the warm-up, Normie Wilson is having an opportunity to have a huddle there behind the mound. Here's the chance at the beginning of the inning where Muski again beat that ball into the ground, a high bounder. And I mean, that is a tough play. That ball never came up. That should not have been an error. That ball never came up. It was a bad hop. But you see how it got away from him now. All of this is going on, and the runner going down to first has turned and moved away from second. He turned as if he was going back to the dugout, and then he finally realized that as the communication between himself and the first base coach was not good, that he could have gone. He got halfway down and then realized it was too late and went back to first.
Okay, who we got out there in left field now?
Oh, I don't know.
Can you see the number on? Well, we'll catch him when he comes in. I don't know if he sent the
We'll catch up with that.
Cochran out there or not.
I don't think so. I think Corcoran came out and went to the dugout. One player came off the field, and I'm assuming that that was
Let's go there, Brett. Let's go, baby.
Corcoran.
Let's go, Brett. Y'all get it going. What's up,
At any
Brett?
rate,
Go,
Mike
Brett.
Cespedes is the pitcher now for First Colonial.
Go, Brett.
Not sure exactly why the quick yank.
I'm not either.
Two hits and 2 runs, 2 errors. I mean, not exactly an overpowering effort on the part of the Warriors to knock him out of the box.
Well, if the coach maybe he sees something. You know, maybe he sees.
That is, by the way, that's Corcoran out there in left field. Thank you, Mr. Director. That is, in fact, Corcoran who moved there. He might have seen something, might know something. You're right. Long, high throw over to first. Good job by Thomas to get up and stop that ball.
Nathan got up off his high. Oh,
Yes,
Jim to
sir.
catch that one. Looked like he was trying to dunk a basketball. He had to get up so high.
I think what I think came out was Menard. But we'll catch up with that for you as time allows. Getting back to the situation at hand, we got runners at first and second with 1 out, and Wheeler with a count now of 3-0. So Brett Wheeler will have an opportunity to look down to Buddy Denton, his coach, and get the signal. Probably the take call, I would think. Don't want to do anything hasty here. He does take the ball, and it is, in fact, a strike down the middle.
Well, this is his closer. No, I'm sorry. Nathan Thomas is his closers. Cespedes is his ace pitcher, 8-2 with. That's the young man that he usually goes with all year long.
And Wheeler draws the walk.
And that loads him up.
So that is a bases loaded situation for Patrick Roscoff.
This young man is a senior. He's done a solid job for the Warriors all year long. And we have a courtesy runner, number 21, going in for the Warriors. And that is, I'll let you catch it.
All right, that is Ricardo Malenchan. So your batter is Roscoff. He walked in the first inning. Hitting 298. He's got bases loaded with 1 out. Pitches high outside.
Well, Cespedes comes in with the lead. He's got a favorable position, but he had 2 on. He walks the first one. Now he's got the bases loaded with 1 out.
High for ball 2. So Cespedes getting himself in a bit of a jam here.
And Chambers wants to go out and kind of settle him down a little bit. You take a run out and say, you know, just put the ball down the middle. Make them beat you because they hit it. Don't be walking in anybody. There's no place for them to walk would tie the score.
1 out. Low outside, ball 3. Walk is a run, as they say.
As good as a hit. A walk is as good as a hit. In this situation, you got to run.
I think you've got to take this pitch. I mean, he's going to have to take it, and it is the automatic. So Cespedes has good smoke. When he throws that fastball, it's got good speed on it. But now he still has to come in with a good pitch because it's still the batter's privilege here at 3-1. And he catches the corner
yes.
at the late call.
Whoa. If he'd have called a ball, he wouldn't have gotten, I don't think he'd upset anybody. That ball was right on the outside corner.
Full count, bases loaded, 1 out. Left-hander Cespedes delivers and strikes him out. So Cespedes reared back and blew the fastball right by Roscoff. And that brings up Robert Arredondo, who was a strikeout victim in the first inning.
Young man, as I told you, just a sophomore, having a great year after breaking his leg last year. He's got a 3.0 GPA. Coaches think he's just excellent. He's one of the best one of the best players all around. Made all district this year, 92.
First Colonial trying to dodge another bullet here. Bases loaded, and the ball gets away from the catcher, but not far enough to advance the runners. 3 runs, 3 hits, and 2 errors for First Colonial. 2 runs, 2 hits, and 2 errors for Kecoughtan. And Norby Wilson has returned to the mound again, something we saw a great deal of in the first matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, he uses time to settle his players down. You know, that's good coaching. That's all right. But you see where Robert went. He went down to talk to his coach. He went down to third base line and talked with Coach Denton. We got a single, just a nice sharp single here. You're going to bring in 2 runs.
Norby doesn't like short games. I've come to that conclusion. He likes to make the most of his game.
Well, I tell you, the last game we did when he went and talked to the plate umpire and then the third base umpire and then the second base umpire and then found the groundskeeper. I mean, that took about 15 minutes. That was a long inning.
He was looking for the lot attendant.
Yeah.
If that's what it took.
But he got what he wanted. He got a reversal of a reverse decision.
1 ball, no strikes. Pitch is a call strike. Evens the count at 1-1. 1-1, 2 out. Warriors with the bases packed.
Hey, say Rob! Hey, let's go 2-2. Let's go, baby! Come on, hey, Rob!
Just outside. Norby Wilson and the First Colonial crowd wanted that call.
Well, and Cespedes asked Mick McCooley, he said, where was it? And he motioned high, and Mick shook his head, yeah, it was high.
Hey, let's go, Rob! Let's go, baby!
Well, that was a big out, that last out, that 3-0, and then strike the batter out. It was a big out for Cespedes.
This one is inside and low for ball 3. So, again, Cespedes looks at a 3-1 count.
And remember talking to Mike McCormick, this is where Buddy Denton says you like to look for the pitch because it is a good pitch. They got to come to you.
And he does not. This one's outside and the run scores. So Arredondo gets the base on balls. And Muski, who seemingly a long time ago led off this inning with what could and should have been ruled a single past the third baseman on a bad hop, was in fact charged with an error.
Well, we got young Mr. Macy Brooks up. Just another junior for this Kecoughtan Warrior team. Has been very dangerous at times. He is the DH, which means all he does is bat. very offensive-minded in baseball and defensive-minded in basketball, although he could score some baskets there too.
I'm not sure what that one was, but the pitch from Cespedes was a lob to the catcher. Now he's appealing to someone. I'm not sure what that's all about.
Well, it may have been he didn't think the runner touched the base.
Well, I don't know.
But
I won't even speculate.
But you throw the ball.
I don't know how that, on a walk, when you trot home, how do you miss home plate?
I don't either, but I
don't know. I didn't see an appeal. It looked like he was protesting something. I don't know.
Well, like he was throwing, let's change balls or something.
Yeah. Brooks looks at the pitch outside. He's ahead on the count. 2 balls and 1 strike. Bases loaded. 1 out. Still got 2 outs, rather. And now Thomas will come over and give encouragement to Cespedes. 1 more further delay in the game.
But you're right. We are not going to see a short game with Norby Wilson coach team.
3-all here in the bottom of the 3rd. Brooks swings and misses. So the count evens at 2-2 with 2 outs.
Just meet the ball. If you're the coaching staff over there, you want him to just make solid contact. Don't try hitting the ball out. Get a single.
Ball gets away. How does this? If the bases are loaded, can you advance? I guess
on the last out you can. Last out of the inning,
okay.
And that's exactly what happened. That's
right.
My interpretation. I'm not a
I don't know this for a fact either. And I won't even start to figure out how you score that because he struck out, but he made it to first, so it can't be a strikeout.
And he gets an RBI. Too. Somebody's got to get an RBI, right? Or you give it to the pitcher.
I don't know.
Oh, that brings up David.
I got to go to scoring school.
All
I know is Smizer scored.
We got a 3.5 GPA.
That's what I need right now to try to figure out the scoring.
Done an excellent job behind the plate. Best all-around catcher in the district, and that says a lot. This young man has done a super job. He will go to college. He will study journalism, and we're not sure where, but
McCullough with a strike call about 5-6 seconds after the ball was thrown.
I thought it was a ball.
I thought it was too, and then all of a sudden his right arm came up. And this one is not a strike.
Well, you kind of see he relaxed. That's when he tenses up. I guess he's going to throw that right arm out there and say strike, right?
I had a chance to chat with him earlier in the season when my son was pitching against Kecoughtan out at Kecoughtan High. Mick really enjoys his sports. He
does.
Truly enjoys his officiating. Norby Wilson is going to come out. If he crosses that line, this will be his 2nd visit, I would assume. Well, he's going to have to make a change, isn't he?
Now, I don't know the rule, but that is the 2nd time he's come out and talked to the pitcher.
I don't, again, I'm not as familiar as I'd like to be with high school rules, but I guess I don't see anyone coming in to take the ball from him, so.
If I could have got a hold of Mike McCormick, we might have been able to get some expertise here, but I don't, I saw Mike earlier. I don't know where he's sitting.
Well, obviously, you're allowed more than 1 visit to the mound in an inning because he just went out there.
Said, hey, settle down.
Well, maybe this is the first visit since Cespedes has been out there.
Well, now that could be, yeah.
I think. I'm not sure. I lost track. I have to apologize for that. At any rate, we're looking at 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs, bases loaded. Cespedes delivers, and it's ball 3. So again, a 3-1 count. And Cespedes doesn't believe that call himself. He gave Mick McCullough a long stare. So again, we're faced with the same situation. It's been a long innings for First Colonial. And so far, they have given up 2 runs, but it could have been worse. And that's a call strike. So the count runs full again with the bases loaded again. 2 outs again. And your batter, Skorupski. And the runners are going, and Skorupski fans to end the inning.
I think he was fooled by the pitch.
I think he was. So Cespedes gets by a huge bullet. Bases loaded, and he had one situation he was 3-0, and two other occasions he was 3-1 and gave up just the 2 runs. But the Warriors do take the lead. They get 1 hit. They leave 3, and they score 2 runs in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. There you see our score, 4-3, and a shot of the good crowd. Get a chance to watch the play again when Macy Brooks struck out, which could have ended the inning if the ball had not gotten away from the catcher. See Cespedes deliver. Macy Brooks swings, the ball gets away from the catcher, and you'll see the runner scoring from 3rd with a go-ahead run to make it 4-3. And that must have been just Wilson's first visit after Cespedes took the mound. I thought he'd been out there for the 2nd time, but I could have been wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. But Skorupski.
I'm wrong before, huh? Does Donna know this? Does Donna the one to let you know this?
Yes, she's the one that lets me know. All right, so to lead off in the top half of the 4th inning, Todd Benko, the DH, will be followed by David Ogle, and, well, depending on how they've changed the order, I don't think they've changed the batting order. They can't do that. Corcoran will be the 3rd batter in the inning. Temperature game time about 73, 74 degrees, but as the sun is setting, a cool, dry breeze is setting upon the crowd here, clad mostly in shorts, but I've seen a few jackets and a couple of blankets come out. But for the 10th of June, it really doesn't get much prettier than today.
This is excellent baseball weather.
So Wheeler will face Benko. Benko reached on an error and scored in the 2nd, and he takes a strike.
Well, this young man is batting .286. He's got a 3.5 GPA. He is the DH.
Strike 2 called. So Wheeler again having sat down for a extremely long inning, working rapidly, delivers outside for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wheeler tried to get him to go after that outside breaking ball, and Benko, to his own credit, did not. Counts even at 2.
That was a good pitch. A good 2-1 pitch.
Time is called. Benko called time and stepped out of the box.
Trying to break up the rhythm of your pitches. Sometimes a pitcher gets into a rhythm. There's a good shot there of the batter.
Strike 3 called as Benko took all 3 strikes. And that is the 6th strikeout of the ball game for Brett Wheeler. 3rd baseman David Ogle, who has one of the 3 first Colonial hits, steps in. He had a hit in the 2nd inning and scored.
Well, he's batting about .259. He also has a 3.5 GPA. It just does my heart good to see these young athletes that carry such great GPAs.
Strike called. 1-1 the count.
And you don't get that just because you attend the class.
Hit foul down the first base line. So Wheeler is ahead on the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes with 1 away. You're watching the semifinals of the Group AAA Baseball Championship Quest. The winner of this game will be in the championship game to be played Monday, the 15th of June. Of course, this videotaped game can be seen almost any time during the year, so we hesitate to make too much reference to that, but certainly an opportunity here for the Warriors to advance to the finals.
Well, we have an equipment problem again with the catcher, David Skorupski. He carried his glove over to the Coach Denton, and I don't know whether the webbing is coming apart or what's happened there, but he didn't want a ball to get by him again.
If he does, Brett, go pitch from second base. It's here. What? Just think of that hand from second base.
There's a good shot of the little huddle over there, and a good shot of young McCullough.
Bakula isn't young.
You like
Skorupski is young.
Oh, well, McCullough is just a youngster.
Mick is more my age. More your age, actually.
Yeah, I didn't tell you about the cake Ruth got me for my birthday.
No.
I'll explain it as we get some time here.
Oh, did he go around? Did he go? No. First base umpire says no, he didn't. Someone leave a wake-up call for the first base umpire. Tell me about this cake.
Well, it's
one thing about baseball, you got lots of time to talk.
It's called a dirt cake.
Oh, I've heard of the dirt cake.
Yes. My wife says.
Was this made out of real dirt, though?
My wife says, guess what, Bob? You're older than dirt. So this is a dirt cake. It comes in a hanging planter, and they put plastic flowers on top. But it is delicious. It's made with.
Can you eat the planter?
Oh no, but you can eat the cake.
Yes!
So Ogle hits the ball to Muski at second and over to first for the second out of the inning.
You just grind up Oreo cookies and put a layer of vanilla pudding in there.
No fat grams, right?
Oh, very little. But I would tell you, when they brought it in, they stuck this thing in the refrigerator, and I said, "What are you putting a planter in the refrigerator for?" So, you know. I said, okay, we'll just forget about it.
Danny Corcoran, who started the game pitching and has since moved to left field and traded places with Mike Cespedes, is the batter. 2 outs, swings and misses. Here in the top half of the fourth inning, 2 away. 4-3 in favor of Kecoughtan. Dirt cake. I've heard of those before.
Yeah.
I've heard of mud pies too, and I don't mean the kind that your children make for you.
No, that was good. I asked her why she did that, and she said, "Well, anytime you turn double nickels, we got to do something to you." I said, "Thanks."
Strike called from Makula.
Well, we'll let you tell me about the mud pie.
Yeah. Corcoran behind on the count, 0-2. Wheeler delivers a little bit low, I think. I've got to wait for Mick on those.
Yeah, 4-1. You know, talking about the dirt cake and the mud pie and everything, you know, Scotty is getting very upset down there because he's starting to drool. His stomach is starting to growl.
Wants to have some of that stuff. Wheeler delivers popped up right at second base, taken by the shortstop, Damon Phillips, for the third out of the inning. So for the second time in the ball game, and certainly not in the second inning, but second time in the ball game, the First Colonial Patriots go down in order as Brett Wheeler regains his mastery. And of course, this could be bad news for First Colonial if he starts to get on a roll. But we have played 4 1/2 innings, or excuse me, 3 1/2 innings rather. And the Warriors in the bottom half of the fourth will send up the top of the order. Damon Phillips, Jacob Muski, and David Denton for Buddy Denton's Kecoughtan Warriors, the Peninsula District champions. A chance to watch the pop-up from Corcoran. Damon Phillips called forward right behind second base for the third out.
Well, Damon not only got to put the last out on the board, but he starts it off. He's a senior second-team district shortstop. He's not sure where he's going to go to college. Could be here at Old Dominion playing at this field or at Campbell or even at CNC. And, of course, he's also one of the team captains for this Warrior team. Very instrumental, leadoff hitter. He gets a lot of things happen. Picked up a walk the first time up. I'm not sure. There's a good shot of
Hi, Bev.
Bev.
Bev got us. Has she got us in the shot? Have we had our red shirts in the sunset yet?
I don't think they've got us.
You've heard of red shirts in the sunset? The
Yeah,
famous
well,
song?
Grievous Conrad says, what's with the red shirts?
I don't know what he means by that.
I don't either. This is
Kecoughtan's colors are green and First Colonial's blue and white, so we were trying to be neutral. First pitch from Cespedes is a satellite. Launched that one all the way to the backstop.
if you're going to do it with nobody on base.
Do it with no one on the bases. Saw that pan of the crowd a little while ago. Got from shorts and halter tops to coats and blankets out here as the evening is getting cool very rapidly.
Oh, that looked high, but it was a called strike.
Phillips didn't think it was a called strike, but it was, in fact. Counts even at 1-1. Warriors leading by a run. This one is high to Phillips. 2 balls and 1 strike. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th.
He hit a line shot in the last game against these two down the third base line. It looked like the ball had eyes.
Hits this one to left field. Looks like it's going to be playable, and it is for the first out of the inning.
Well, Kecoughtan is hitting the ball solid, but they're hitting it at people. And eventually they're going to start hitting it away from people. It's just a matter of time.
Jacob Muski, who has been the recipient of 2 errors by the third baseman and has scored twice as a result of getting on base, has 2 of the 4 runs scored by the Warriors. He's 0 for 2, but he has been productive.
I tell you, we got a good crowd here. I see Jim Hathaway, the principal of Kecoughtan High, with Larry Waddell, one of the assistant principals. And of course, we talked about Revis Conrad, and Ron Williams is here, and Joe Griffin, Mike McCormick. I've seen Danny Mitchell walk by. I mean, we just have a great crowd here, and that's just some of the many fans from both teams here tonight.
I have to tell you, though, I wished I would look around and see all the seats filled, because there was really not much reason not to be here, although in defense of both schools, this is exam week. This is final exam week, so I'm sure a lot of the students weren't able to justify getting all the way over to Norfolk on an exam night. So kind of poor timing on the part of the VHSL as far as
there's
the
been a lot
schedule.
they've caught a lot of flack about their scheduling. The basketball seemed to stretch out a little bit, and this baseball is stretching out.
Going on for quite some time now. There was a lot of time between games, and the timing of the games wasn't even the time between games as much as last week's game with Kecoughtan and Mills Godwin had to be delayed because of Godwin's graduation ceremonies. This week, Kecoughtan's in the middle of exams and graduation and so forth. So maybe a better timing of the playoffs might be in order. 3 balls and 1 strike to the batter, Jacob Muski. 1 out, nobody on here in the bottom half of the 4th. A beautiful early summer, late spring night. Call strike and a full count.
Well, if you think June, you should be out of spring, but it's not hot or muggy.
Not tonight.
It's really good weather.
I'll argue with you on Monday night about being muggy. Muski goes down swinging.
And that was not a good pitch.
That was ball 4, actually. David Denton, who is a 2 strikeout victim to First Colonial pitchers, steps in. And you might say he is due against this team. He is 0 for 5 in the 2 matchups between these 2 teams. You're not going to keep him off the hitting scorecard for very long at batting at 427.
And he started making contact with the last time he was up. Young man can launch the ball.
Ball is inside, gets away from Chambers.
He's trying to keep David a little bit off balance, threw it inside. David made selected to the Daily Press sports writers first team in '91. 92 team. Has it been announced so far this year?
I don't think so.
Well, he'll make it. You tell Mike Keach.
High heat.
You got a little pull down there, don't you?
No.
You don't have any pull? That ball looked big. That high fast one.
1-1 the count. 2 outs here in the fourth. Well, Mr. K and I talked, but I don't know about pull. Mr. Keach is a man of his own mind. This one is beaten off of the shortstop. It'll be an error. It was a tough chance. Problem for the shortstop on that play, it was between hops.
Well, that shot was a hard hit ball, Tim. But you're right, it was between hops, not to take anything away
Well, they
from
give him a hit. I don't know what the scorekeeper is thinking
come
on that
give
one.
me a break.
Muski got a hit the last time when the ball took a bad hop on the third baseman. That one was just a tough chance, but they give him a hit, so I'll score it accordingly here. And another courtesy runner will come on in this case for Denton. That's number 28 on your scorecard there. That is Chuck Payne for Kecoughtan. And the batter now is Steve Smizer, the right fielder. Smizer walked and had a single, scored a run. So David Denton reaches on a generous. Well, now they give him a hit or not? No, they've changed it to an error.
Yeah, I thought they had. I was looking over there and I think, well, has they changed that or what?
And I'm not trying to pick on the shortstop, but that ball should have been played. It was a tough chance. I don't argue that point. On the scoreboard, he can't make up his mind. Actually, he's got it. I think he's got it as a hit. So it's not that important. The fact of the matter is there are 2 outs and a runner's on first. Steve Smizer is the batter.
Well, David will take the hit.
Smizer at the plate. Brett Wheeler is on deck. Call strike.
I talked about Steve being 4.0, very solid. He's the one. He played second baseman when Muski hurt his ankle. He's going to James Madison University in the fall.
Swings at a high fastball for the 3rd strike. And the Warriors strand a runner. They left the bases loaded the last inning and 1 runner this inning. So they've got 3 hits and 4 runs with 2 errors. And First Colonial after 4 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 errors. And you get a chance to watch this shot from David Denton. And you make up your mind, was this an error or a hit? Let's watch the shortstop here. The ball is between, that's an error.
Yeah.
Just as simple as can be. Tough chance.
Tough. It was a hard hit ball, not taking anything away, but that's as a shortstop, you got to come up with that ball. That's not one that you let get by you.
Some of the crowd on hand here, a good crowd for a Wednesday night. Leading off for First Colonial in the top half of the 5th inning, they will send Rob Chambers, the number 9 batter, to the plate, and then he will be followed by the leadoff batter Ron LaFay and Ryan McCoy, the 3rd baseman. Brett Wheeler had a 1-2-3 inning last time out. Settled down a little bit after a tough 2nd inning when he gave up 3 runs on 3 hits and a couple of tough chances for his teammates. Error in there and actually 2 errors. We play 7 innings in high school ball. We're in the top of the 5th. Chambers, last time up in the 2nd inning, had one of the 3 hits that First Colonial has registered.
Well, he's batting .333. Has done a. I mean, this. You look at the catchers, Skrupski and Chambers, and these young men, they're battling every pitch. You know, they got to get tired before the end of a ball game. Only ones that get to see everything, because they got the position where they don't have their back to the ball. They get to see everything. The ball coming in, the hits. They do a lot of calling. They'll call different pickoff plays. And in some cases, Tim, they will call the pitches. Now, Kecoughtan will call most of their pitches. They will single them into the catcher, but sometimes the catcher has that responsibility himself.
Chambers steps in 1 for 1 on the night. Wheeler's pitch up high for a ball.
Oh, Wells! Wait a second, Billy. Wait a second, Brad. Let's not get in no trouble now. No trouble in the city, man.
Fouled away, evens the count at 1-1. Old Dominion University's Bud Metheny Baseball Complex is the site of this game, the Group AAA semifinal championship game. Winner of this game advances to the championship on Monday up in Northern Virginia, up at Prince William's Cannon Stadium or something like that up there.
Don't ask me.
Well, you might want to know because you're right. You're driving.
No, you're driving. Aha! I drove tonight.
Oh,
we got
I knew you'd work that out.
Danny Mitchell up here in the booth with us. If Scotty has our portable mic turned on, we may get some comments from Danny.
Yeah, he's live. Well, hold on for a second. Inside high for a ball. 2 balls and check that. 3 balls and 1 strike. Danny Mitchell, good to see you again.
It's good to be here. Always enjoy coming up here with y'all.
We got that Timex watch for him. He always looks forward to that. What do you think of the ball game so far, Danny?
It's a good baseball game. I think the layoff has hurt both teams considerably, stretching it out as much time as we did. But Kecoughtan's winning, so that's good.
Holding up the tradition of Peninsula baseball. Count runs full to the batter, Rob Chambers. We've been commenting about some of the players. This young Chambers, I don't know if you've seen much of him this year, Danny. He's a pretty good-looking catcher for First Colonial.
First Colonial is a good baseball team, and I think they're a seasoned veteran team.
Swing and a miss as Wheeler registers number 7 in the strikeout department.
Well, he came back from a 3-1 count to strike that batter out. That's having confidence. You've seen Wheeler pitch a lot of times, Danny. I don't know how many times he won against you, but he's a pretty good location pitcher and can overpower you, can he?
That's the thing about Brett's developed over the years since he was in the 9th grade, and obviously now he's in the 11th grade. He hits the spots, but he throws so hard now. I never thought I'd seen him throw as hard as he's throwing now.
Well, I remember when he first come up, he was a real frail-looking young man. He didn't have a lot of meat on him, but he has really gotten stronger.
He's a class of the league, and good news for Kecoughtan and Kecoughtan fans. He's coming back for another year. Bad news for the rest of us.
I was going to say, for the rest of the district, it may not be such good news. You're right.
1-1 the count to LaFay. Wheeler delivers a curveball outside for a ball. Danny, how do the prospects look for your Crabber team for next season?
We talk about baseball, right, Tim?
Yeah,
now, because baseball season has been the back of my mind now. It's football season now,
okay.
but
Well, we can talk both.
Baseball-wise, I think we're going to have a pretty good baseball team next year. We're real young this year, and all our pitching's coming back.
Well, that's good. When you got your pitchers coming back, and the young man that was your ace pitcher, I'm trying to think of his name right offhand, but played was
John Logeman.
Logeman was also backup quarterback last year, if I'm not mistaken.
LaFay grounds out for the second out of the inning.
Logeman was 9-3 for us, and he's going to play in the Commonwealth games here in June. That's a big honor, and Coach has upsetted me now because he said John's lost too much weight. So you win one way, you lose the other way.
Well, that's true. football, he's going to have to put on a little weight to be contending with those linemen coming running at him.
We're going to try to keep the lineman off of him, but he's a good baseball player.
Ryan McCoy steps in.
Well, you had one young man that Wayne Spencer. Now, where's he going to school?
I don't know, Bob. He got drafted by the Red Sox towards the later round, and he's looking at VCU, Old Dominion, and for baseball. And North Carolina State is really interested in playing both football and baseball down there.
Well, he's a fine young man. I know you hate to see him go. You like to see the young men develop and move on, but he's been a good competitor over there in the Crabber uniform for many years.
It's going to be hard to lose Wayne because he's been there 5 years. And he started with me with baseball, and he's been with us for so long. It's like losing a son when he leaves.
1-1 the count, 2 away here in the top half of the 5th inning. Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, and Danny Mitchell, the baseball coach and the assistant coach for another sport over in Hampton. We'll get to that in just a second as the ground out to second baseman Mooski for the final out. So Mooski gets involved in 2 of the plays. And 1, 2, 3 innings, second inning in a row that Brett Wheeler has mowed them down. That's 8 in a row that he has retired for First Colonial. Football, that's what that new sport that's coming up here this fall. I understand you guys have got a game to open the season that I think most of us fans would have preferred to have seen a year earlier. But you're going to be playing against Woodrow Wilson to open the season.
That's what they told us, that we have to play them. So we've been trying to play them. And, you know, if
I know you have.
anybody's been around the school, we've been trying to play them for the last 3 or 4 years. And we're going to open up with the first game. It's going to be interesting.
But will they have will the Sparrow a senior this past season, or will he be back with them again?
You're talking about Aaron's younger brother.
Right.
Yeah. I think he was a 10th grader last year.
Yeah, he'll be back 2 more years.
Yeah, so he's coming back. And
But their head coach, didn't he go to Norfolk State, if I'm not mistaken?
I think Darnell took a ride with Aaron over there at Norfolk State. And I wish Darnell was coming back. I'd like to play against him.
And the reason I say that matchup comes a little later than some of us would like to have seen, of course, last year Hampton with the extremely strong team, and Wilson likewise, it would have been a great matchup to have those 2 teams meet.
Well, one thing I do want to ask, Danny, is you guys have been dropped to Division 5. Is that a plus or minus, or does it affect you in any way?
And is that a final? I understand there's still debate about that too.
You know, from what I understand, it's not final yet, but it's almost final. And I don't know. I think it affects your mind, just your ego a little bit more than it does anything else. I think Division 5 is, really just as tough as Division 6.
Well, you play some tough Division 5 teams in Warwick and Bethel, just to mention a few. So.
I think especially when you leave this area, Division 5 really gets tougher as you go up north towards the northern teams. And, our enrollment's going to increase so much next year that I think we'll only be there for, probably that 1 year or 2 years. I'm not sure whether it's a mandatory 2-year thing or not. But, we've petitioned before to be Division 6 a few years ago, and we got to do that. And I think we were the state champions in '88. We were really supposed to be Division 5. So that's just some politics and bureaucracy got us going.
Yeah.
Brett Wheeler leading off for the Warriors here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. At a count to Wheeler, 1-1. He'll be followed in the lineup by Roscoff and Arredondo for the Kecoughtan Warriors. Cespedes in the dirt. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Were you surprised at the quickness that Norby Wilson pulled Cochran out in that when he changed pitchers? I couldn't see anything that I saw that would warrant bringing a pitcher at that position. He'd thrown 1 ball and it was to, I believe it was to Wheeler.
I'm not trying to second guess Norby because he's a very good coach, but I'm surprised that he was starting pitcher. I figured this kid right here would be the starting pitcher for him.
Maybe he figured if he could get 2 innings out of him and stay in the ball game, then he'd have the full strength with a lot of time between games. He's got a lot of rest out of all those players.
I think Norby thinks a lot like a lot of us do. The Kecoughtan just hits the fastball so well.
Yeah.
that he was hoping with the other pitcher, the one that started, that he could off-speed him because he's an off-speed type pitcher.
Well, we saw that last week when Lolly was the pitcher for
Right.
First Colonial and threw a lot of
But
off-speed pitches.
just about the time Kecoughtan started getting the timing down and started hitting the ball, he changed pitchers on him. He brought in Nathan Thomas, who's his closer. That usually plays first base.
Roscoff is the batter. Takes the first pitch high for a ball.
Now, I know that Kecoughtan calls a lot of their pitchers to the catcher. You do that over at Hampton too, don't you, Danny?
Right, we call all the pitches at Hampton. I know Buddy calls a lot of his pitches too. You know, I think it's different philosophies, but we do it because we don't want to put the pressure on the kids, and the pitcher, he has enough to worry about, and I think it's my job to, you know, control the game, so that's what I do it for.
Okay.
2 balls, no strikes to Roscoff. He reached on a base on balls in the first inning and struck out in the third. 0 for 1 tonight. High again for a ball. Danny, was it my error, or did Wilson make 2 trips to the mound in that inning when Seppides came out? What is the high school rule as far as visits to the mound by the coach?
3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
So he did go out twice in that inning, and again, confusing the rules of the different competitions in high school ball is 3, whereas in pro ball, he would have had to take him out on the second visit.
Right.
Now we got a walk by Roscroft, 4 straight pitches. Brings up Arredondo, and this is a young man, just a sophomore, Danny, and coaching staff were real high on him. They were very disappointed when he broke his leg last year. They thought he would have been starting for him as a freshman.
Arredondo is a good baseball player. In fact, you know, he was all district over there as a sophomore, and he hits the ball good, but he plays good third base.
Arredondo batting .284, 21 for 74 up until this game. Had 5 doubles and 2 home runs on the season.
One of the home runs was against us.
Sorry,
we didn't ask for that.
Runner at first, 1 away. Arredondo struck out in the first, and he also walked. So he is 0 for 1 on the night. On deck is the DH Macy Brooks for Kecoughtan. Kecoughtan leading 4-3 here in the bottom of the 5th. Swing and a miss, long high throw into center field, and scampering towards third. Great throw from the center fielder, almost in time, but holding up at third is Roscoff.
What a nice bit of base running. That just heads up base running that time by Roscroft.
LaFay out of left in center field, rather, really rifled that ball over to third. What a gun he's got. But now the Warriors have a runner in scoring position, just 1 away, and your batter still Arredondo with the 0-2 count. Love the old squeeze bunt. Oh, that's one of the most exciting plays in baseball. You just don't see very much. Arredondo swings at a bad pitch for strike 3. So with a runner on third now and 2 away, the batter is the DH Macy Brooks. Macy had a hit in the second and a walk in the third. He is 1 for 1 tonight.
Well, that wasn't a walk. That was the one where he struck out and got on base. How did
he score that?
That's right. Well, it's a strikeout for the pitcher, and believe it or not, the catcher gets an error on it.
Is that right?
Even if he can't get to it.
Well, who gets the RBI? Macy?
I do not know.
Okay.
That's one thing about baseball. There are about 150 different ways you can score plays.
Somebody has to get.
Kecoughtan gets the RBI. Kecoughtan gets the RBI.
And we count the run.
That's right. The run counts, and that's all that counts.
I'm not even sure whether you give an RBI on that. That might be where you don't give an RBI.
At any rate, that would be a K, all right? Baseball scoring is not my forte.
We have a break in between innings. I want to talk about some of the rest of these players on the Kecoughtan team, but we don't get a chance to talk much about in between innings.
You don't have to wait for between innings. You can talk about them now if you want.
Anytime.
Anytime. Danny, how's the football the team going to shape up for you guys this fall? I know we're still a couple of months away from practice, but you certainly have a good idea of who's coming back.
Yeah, I think we're going to, we've got a lot of kids working out in the weight room, and I've been with baseball a lot, but I know Coach Smith and Coach Mann are real high on their work ethics in the weight room.
Ball get away. Let me interrupt you. The ball got away from the third baseman, and scoring will be Roscoff. So the Warriors get an extra run here and pad that lead out to 2 without a hit.
I think that's just a part of, the aggressive base running got him to third base.
Yeah.
And, a lot of teams wouldn't even run on that catcher because his arm's so strong. But, I know for a fact you take a strong arm catcher that hasn't been tested, sometimes he will throw the ball in the outfield.
Yep.
And there he tried to make up for it and threw that ball away.
Yeah, so it's 2 of them got away.
That's a run that Buddy got him right there. No hits,
No hits, a walk.
And he's coached that run in.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
I'm going to give the RBI to Buddy.
He got that run for him.
Outside, 2 and 2.
One of the young men I want to talk about is the center fielder for Kecoughtan. We don't talk about him because he doesn't come up to bat. And, of course, that's Morocco Brown, very solid defensive ball player. Has great field in the outfield. He does pitch occasionally. He's just a sophomore. And, of course, we saw the young man on the basketball court. And, Danny, you got to see him across the line on football. He plays 3 sports and has done a great job for him.
I tell you, I think you'll see Rock next year probably become a star down here on the baseball team. He throws the ball as hard as anybody I've ever seen.
Brooks up the middle, got him at first on a real good play by the first Colonial Patriots.
Well, after you get the line score, let me run down some of these other ball players we've got here.
Well, they had 4 batters come up, 1 guy walked. And how you got him around is, like you said, you give it to Buddy on that one. He got him around on a stolen base, a bad throw into center field, got to third base, and then threw the ball away. Okay, we'll be back to Old Dominion University's Bud Metheny Baseball Complex after a brief timeout.
Well, here we come back at the top of the 6th, and while we're waiting for our first bat, I want to talk about some of the reserves on this Kecoughtan team. We got Peter McKinney, who is a junior. He did a great job playing when they had some players that were hurt, that were out with injuries. He played both center and right field, depending on who was pitching. But when Mooski come back in, Peter sat down. Just a junior, will be back next year. Young man, Mike Lyons, I'm real good friends with his dad and his mother, Veda and Mike Lyons. He's just a junior. He's played sparingly this season, but he's a very good defensive outfielder. Patrick Painter is another junior, has done some relief work on the mound. He has hurt an ankle, has been out for that. Then they brought up some young people from the JVs, brought up John Hatt, who's a sophomore, Ricardo, and we'll let you pronounce that.
Belinchan, I think. Belinchan or Belinchan?
Belinchan is just a freshman. Chuck Payne is a freshman. Andy Lee is a freshman. And Richie Clark is a sophomore. And, of course, Tab Paps, one of the coaches, graduated in 87. Steve Irick graduated in 84, both from Kecoughtan High School. And do a great job of scouting and charting the opponents, and makes it nice when they come to practice every day. It helps the coaching staff.
Beasley hits the ball sharply to short. Long throw in time for the first out. Sean Beasley leading off. There's a pretty fair quarterback playing baseball for First Colonial, Dan.
He's a good athlete.
He's going to go to VCU, we understand, and we're somewhat mystified because at least that's the tentative plans he has. I know VCU's got a pretty good baseball team, so obviously he's going to concentrate on baseball and forgo football.
Right. I'm not sure if VCU's offered him anything, but I know that he's interested in going to play up at VCU.
Second batter of the inning is Nathan Thomas, the first baseman, reached on an error and grounded out in the third. He's 0 for 2 on the night. He did score in that inning when he reached on the air. Strike called, evens the count at 1-1. That's 9 retired batters in a row for Brett Wheeler as he is starting to get in his groove. And he has retired 10 of the last 11. Curveball looked pretty good. Nice looking pitch.
Just on it, just outside.
Nathan Thomas is the batter. On deck is the pitcher. And starting the game in left field initially is Cespedes. This one is hit to the right side of the infield. Muski over to first, and wham bam, 2 outs. So Wheeler is rolling now, and this is something, again, Danny, I'm sure too much of the Peninsula teams have seen all too often.
Brett's in a groove. You can watch him. He wants to get up on that rubber and throw the baseball. He's not waiting. He's ready to go. This is a big out right here. He gets Cespedes out, and I'd say turn the lights out because it's just about over with.
He, when First Colonial did score their runs, they only had one real hit out of it. They had that little dribbler bunt that got past Wheeler. They had an infield hit.
Well, a lot of them were hit down in the
And that's
front
and that's what's happening right now. What kind of ball is Wheeler throwing that's causing these guys to hit the ball so hard into the ground?
You know, I would not try to guess what he's throwing. I would say he's probably cutting his fastball a little bit, and it's moving, and they're on top of it. You know, I'm not sure what he calls. You know, what kind of pitch selection he has. I know he has good fastball, good curveball, and he probably throws a slider, and I would guess that's what he's throwing right now.
As I said,
you don't see a junior in high school throw a lot of stuff like that, do you, as a rule?
No, if you can get, I think if you can get your pitcher to throw 2 pitches, you've done a good job in high school.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing in Peninsula District more and more is a changeup is making a comeback, and just to keep the batters off stride. But
didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay. I just want to talk about Cespedes. The all-team, regional team, all-district team for the last 2 years. Got a 1.51 ERA, 9.2 record coming into today. So, but I tell you, young Mr. Brett Wheeler, I think he's starting to sense that he's got a chance to close them out.
well, you know, he's such a competitor, and it's like a boxing match now, and he's just getting stronger and stronger.
2-2 the count to Cespedes. 2 away here in the 6th. Little bit outside. Runs the count full now with 2 away in the 6th.
Well, Cespedes bats .454, so he's not a slouch at the plate either.
1.51 ERA and a .454 batting average. He pops this one up on the right side. Muski calls for it and makes the 3rd out.
Well, that's big 3 outs for the Warriors.
3rd consecutive inning that Wheeler has set down First Colonial in order. So we go to the bottom half of the 6th inning.
And you know what he's going to do? He's bringing in his closer, as he calls him, the Thomas off of first base. He just told, he being Norby Wilson, just pointed to Nathan Thomas and pointed to the mound. So we will get Nathan to pitch this inning anyway. Whether he gets to pitch another inning or not, we just have to wait and see.
That's up to Wheeler, but looking ahead, if I could, and you certainly don't want to pre-propose anything, but for the Patriots, they have scheduled up. Well, it's their 6th, 7th, and 8th batters in the bottom or at the top of the 7th. So Wheeler would appear to have a weaker part of the order, but of course, First Colonial is such a good team; they don't really have any weaknesses in the batting order.
Number 18, Nathan Thomas.
And that puts Cespedes goes over to first base now. He started at left, went to pitcher. Now he's at first. Young man can play anywhere.
If I'm a coach and he bats .454,
I'm going to have him in the
carries
lineup.
a 151 ERA. He can bat anywhere he wants. David Skorupski will lead off for the Kecoughtan Warriors here in the 6th. He'll be followed by the top of the order, Damon Phillips and Jacob Muski. Nathan Thomas finds the backstop with one of his warm-up pitches. We saw Thomas, of course. He pitched against Kecoughtan last week.
But he came in real, I thought, earlier than what the coach normally likes to bring him in with the last 2 innings. So it seemed like he brought him in like in the 4th inning.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Did Norby go out and just ask for left-handers to show up for his team?
I think everybody must in Norfolk and Virginia Beach must be left-handed because there's not too many over there on the district on the peninsula.
Warriors, the catcher, number 36, David Skorupski.
So the left-hander Thomas replaces I believe Cespedes was left-handed, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And Cochran was left-handed. I thought either that or I'm losing it.
Kecoughtan has seen nothing but left-handed pitchers tonight.
Skorupski leads off. He hit into a double play in the second inning and struck out in the third. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Skorupski hitting .292 coming into the game.
Well, last time over this field, he put one over the left field fence out there, so he's got some power.
He had 2 RBIs in that ball game.
The thing about Skorupski was he filled a big void for Kecoughtan this year at catcher because they graduated their catcher, and we all thought that Damian Phillips would have to catch, but he came in and did the job, and it allowed Damian to play shortstop, and it just made him so much more stronger. Plus, he's hitting 300, and that doesn't hurt either. I gotta find out what Buddy's feeding him.
Yeah, well, he's feeding those boys well.
Well, I don't know that, but he's got that batting cage over there too. So I don't know what.
It's just hard work, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Fouled back. 2-2 the count.
I know as a coach, you sit back during the off-season, you try to figure out who's going to be where against the other teams, and this boy was just a complete surprise catching to me.
Ball hit off the pitcher's glove. Shortstop will field it and safe.
He pulled him off the base, so that would have been a great out. But that gives you a chance to possibly see David Denton one more time. He bats third in the batting order, so now we have the top of the order coming up with Damon. So you got your number 1, 2, and 3, and nobody out. Any run here would be a real big run, wouldn't it, Danny?
Yeah, I think anytime you get one more run, anytime in the 7th or the 6th inning you can get one run and you're already ahead, is really big. It's going to be interesting to see what Coach Denton does here.
Phillips has walked, grounded out, and popped up. Tries to advance the runner by bunting down the first baseline. It's foul. Bottom half of the 6th inning, Kecoughtan leading by 2 runs. And again, I remind you that in high school ball, it's 7 innings. So the Warriors, all they have to do is defend the top of the 7th, and they'll be in the finals for the Group AAA championship. But that's a tough chore still ahead of them against this tough First Colonial team.
Danny, has this been the first year that the state championship has been played after graduation, to your knowledge?
Yeah, to my knowledge it is. It's just been stretched out so far. I can't ever remember it being after the graduation.
What is the feeling in the people you've talked to? Do you think they have stretched it out too far? I know, because you have to run your schedule and you're going to look for rain delays and that sort of thing anyway. So
the people I've talked to, and my personal belief is it's stretched out too far, but if I'm playing in this right now and I'm Coach Denton, or even if you have that one good pitcher, it's great for me because he's getting 2 or 3 days rest in between games.
Right. Well, now if they win tonight, they have like 5 days off.
Right. They don't play again until Monday.
They got him leaning. He's got a good move over there.
So Skorupski is nailed at first on the pickoff play. And with 1 away now, the count is 0-2 on Damon Phillips. Outside. Yeah, you're right, Danny. This, of course, is very much the advantage for Kecoughtan and Coach Denton. Should they win this game, the championship game won't be until Monday, and that gives 5 full days of rest for Wheeler. So you've got the ability to use your best pitcher in the semifinals, the quarterfinals, and the finals. Strike 3 called on Phillips, and Phillips not real sure he agreed with that call, to say the least.
I know a couple years when we played in the regional and state tournament, we played on a Tuesday, and we played on a Thursday, and we played on a Friday to finish up the region.
Yeah.
And then we started the state in a Tuesday, and you played Thursday and Friday again. And as far as, from coach's standpoint, I think it'd be great if you had a veteran baseball team like Kecoughtan does, where, you don't really need that much practice time in between. And I think, I really think it might have hurt First Colonial more this time, the layoff, than it did Kecoughtan, where Kecoughtan was coming off a loss and First Colonial was coming off a win after the regional tournament.
Strike called to Jacob Muski. Muski is 0 for 3 in the night, reached twice on errors and scored 2 times and struck out in the 4th. 2 away here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, and Danny Mitchell, the baseball coach and assistant football coach at Hampton High School. We wore your colors just for this occasion, Danny. I want you to know that.
When we first got here, Reeves Conrad looked up and says, "Oh, what's with the red shirts?" And we said we want to be neutral. and he said his comment was, "The red's not neutral."
Danny, if I can digress from baseball a second and ask you, we touched briefly on the football. Obviously, Hampton has a strong contingent coming back. Who else looks pretty strong on the peninsula, or do you really have a chance to know at this point?
I don't really think I even have a chance to know. I think Bethel's got to be considered as being tough there. The district champions coming back. Kurt always has a good football team at Kecoughtan. I'm not that familiar with Coach D's, who he's got coming back and who he doesn't. But, I think the old story is going to be, the teams in Hampton are going to be real, real tough.
Yep. All right, Muski goes down to the big strikeout, and the First Colonial pitching staff has excelled in that department. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 for their staff. And, of course, I believe Mr. Wheeler has about 10 of his own coming in here. Let me double check. It hasn't been as overpowering in those consecutive outs. He's gotten 3 ground outs in the last inning, 2 in the previous inning, and 2 in the previous inning there. But he still has 7 strikeouts for Mr. Wheeler as the crowd starts to get into the ball game. First Colonial here in the top half of the 7th has to tie the game if they have any chance at all. And, of course, they'll be facing Brett Wheeler, who is the fire-breathing dragon for the Kecoughtan Warriors. He's going to be out there throwing as hard as he can. Here's the pickoff play of the previous inning. See if we can pick up the fine move. The left hand, of course, always has that natural ability to look over. Well, we can just barely see the end of that play, but obviously a close play and the runner out on the call. Got D.H. Benko, the third baseman Ogle, and the first, let's see, what is Cochran playing now? He's playing, what is he playing, first base now? No, Cespedes is playing first.
Yeah, Cespedes
Cochran
on
is
first.
in left field.
In left field.
Who's on first? Does sound like a who's on first routine.
I tell you, the situation there where they struck out those 2 batters and had that boy picked off at first base, believe it or not, I think Kecoughtan really wants to get in the field and play defense and get the game over with. And
so they're not really upset by that.
I don't really believe they are, because I really believe they're not going to get 2 runs off of Brett Wheeler, and they want to go out there and play defense behind him, and I think that's where their mind is right now.
All right, Todd Benko, the DH, steps in. Benko is 0 for 2 tonight, reached on an error and struck out. Did score a run in the 2nd inning. First Colonial crowd trying to get their team pumped up. Wheeler makes the play over to first, out.
And that first out is always a big out, isn't it, Danny?
That takes a lot of the pressure off right there. There's another good example of how good Brett Wheeler is coming off that mound and making that play. If he gets by him, he's on first base with an infield hit.
And he comes off of the mound towards the first base side. So that makes it even a tougher play that he made that time.
Second batter in the inning is Ogle, and he has hit it high to center field for the 2nd out.
Rocco Brown right there.
So the First Colonial Patriots are down to their last out in Danny Corcoran, who started the game pitching and has moved to left field in favor of, well, now Nathan Thomas, and prior to that, Mike Cespedes. But Corcoran will come to the line, and he reached on a fielder's choice in the 2nd inning and popped out in the 4th. We have a batting average for Mr. Corcoran. I don't believe we had one from Norby on that.
No, we didn't.
Nonetheless, it's 2 outs in the 7th. Pitch on the corner for a strike. Well, we want to take the opportunity to thank the fine crew here at Old Dominion University for all of their help in our crew setting up for this game and all the hospitality that has been accorded us. This ball is hit down the left field line, foul by a foot or two. And everyone on the Kecoughtan side of the field takes a deep breath.
They say, go left, go left.
Hook.
Well, and we also want to thank our camera crew. Bev Penn is on one of the cameras. Jerome Young got sick. We got, of course, Ron Baton on one, and
Melvin Hooker.
Yeah, Melvin down there. And who's the slow motion man? Doing a great job tonight.
Mr. Parker, Alan Parker.
Yeah, Alan Parker.
And of course, Dr. Sam Stills has jumped in to do graphics, and our ever-present, the little guy, Scotty Beam Me Up Bowers, our director. Great job as always, staff. Little bit low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wheeler ahead on the count. 2 outs here in the top half of the 7th inning. Kecoughtan leading 5-3. Wheeler trying to close it out. Delivers. Swing and a miss! And the Warriors go to the championship game.
Man, you got to be careful you don't hurt anybody. But they are happy for that, and we're going to go up to that game, Danny, and you're not going to be in school. I don't know what your schedule is, but we're going to go up and check that game out.
I'm going to catch a ride with Mike Keach up there at Daily Press. Use some Daily Press gas money to go up there.
Now you're talking.
I tell you what, Kecoughtan did a super job, and they beat First Colonial. I believe they'll beat anybody Monday. Bob, Tim, thank you a whole lot.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by, Danny, and good luck to you. We'll see you in the fall for sure.
Appreciate you coming by. Well, Brett Wheeler gets the win as he ties those records that he was going after. He becomes the all-time leading career win pitcher with 24, and he ties the 13 wins in a single season. And next Monday, he will have an opportunity to make it a new record in both of those departments, as undoubtedly he will pitch for the state championship Monday in Northern Virginia. He retired the last 14 batters consecutively and 15 of the last 16. So Brett Wheeler, a shaky second inning, gave up a couple of hits. His team had a couple of errors, but he certainly settled down in the 4th inning, and after that, he was untouchable.
Well, Tim, and I think the key to the whole thing is that I didn't think First Colonial hit the ball very solid at all.
No, they didn't.
The runs they got in that 2nd inning, those 3 runs, those were balls hit in the ground with high bounces and just almost impossible to make plays with. Not to take anything away from First Colonial, but Kecoughtan was definitely the best team out there tonight, as proved by the score.
Only had 1 hit that went outside of the infield,
That's
if I
correct.
remember correctly. Was that single up the middle.
And little Buddy Dent, I see he's in the picture. He's very excited, very excited.
Yeah, I guess he might be. And he's a very successful coach. His techniques, of course, prove themselves time and again, as he is a jubilant coach, getting the high fives from the fans and friends alike. And the Warriors will advance to the championship game Monday the 15th of June. I'll get it right yet. So if you're watching this game whenever between now and the 15th of June, make plans if you can. And it's tough, I know, in the middle of the day to go up to Northern Virginia, but if you can, make plans to go up there tentatively, and I use that word because I'm not sure of the final plans here, but it is our plan to be there to bring that game back to you here on Channel 5.
And if we don't go, we'll catch a ride with Mike Keach.
That's right. Mike and Danny and you and me.
There you
The
go.
final score again, the Kecoughtan Warriors win the semifinal battle with First Colonial, avenging a 6-2 loss last week with a 5-3 victory over the Patriots of First Colonial. The winning pitcher is Brett Wheeler, his 13th of the season and his 24th overall as a Kecoughtan Warrior. For Bob Hintz, this is Tim Cole. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.